Thanks for joining us on the Baseball Happenings podcast. Our guest this episode is the newly appointed CEO of VaynerBaseball, Greg Genske. He's going to talk about his partnership with VaynerSports and how they came to form the VaynerBaseball division. We'd love it if you liked, followed, and subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're using to listen, and also check us out on social media. We're at Examine Baseball on most platforms. We have Greg Genske from the newly formed VaynerBaseball division of VaynerSports. Greg, tell us how the partnership formed, between you and VaynerSports to create this new VaynerBaseball division.
Well, for me, it began with a new beginning. So after having an almost 20-year career as a sports agent and having had a lot of success and working with some really great people, both clients and partners, and being very proud of the work, the ability to have a fresh start just really invigorated me and got me going. And so I began to think about what would be the perfect model for a sports agency representing professional athletes, doing some events. What would be the perfect model? I started thinking about who would be the perfect partners. And I brought with me some of the partners I had back from my previous agency and a former client in Vernon Wells, who offers players so much in terms of leadership and perspective and development as a player and as a man. Joe Mizzo, Eric Eisen, some of the more successful agents who are really up and coming agents in the game. And we were thinking that we bring with us a wealth of experience. I mean, I've negotiated about $4 billion in baseball contracts, done a lot of significant NFL contracts. How do we make ourselves better? One area was bringing in former clients who are leaders as players, like Vernon Wells, a leader with the PA, and some other former clients who have joined or are joining us as well. The other area is how do we step into the next level, into the next age when it comes to marketing, branding, providing these services to clients. One thing that's always been really, really important to me and drives me is teaching my clients. So I am a teacher. I teach at UC Berkeley School of Law, and I've always found that it was one of the most important aspects of my job is not just to do a great job for each one of my clients, but to make sure I'm educating them along the way. And so looking at this other space, I was always really attracted to what Gary and AJ had done with VaynerMedia, VaynerX, and how they were just cutting edge, but importantly, how they were just dedicated to teaching and trying to help people understand how to utilize these tools, how to create a brand for yourself. And I was just really attracted to that positive message. So they fit really, really well with the way I've always done business, but they did it in a way that kind of made up for something I wasn't an expert in. I've never been an expert in different social media platforms. I've done some really good marketing deals, but not the kind of outside the box thinking and the outside the box relationships and deals that Vayner brings to the table. So really, I had my eye on them, and then I was really fortunate in that Mike Nelligan, who's head of marketing there, I was in contact with him, and he was over there, and he was the one who really saw the match, and he facilitated the meeting between AJ, Gary, and myself. This was in Miami for the Super Bowl this past year, and one dinner, and we hit it off. The positive energy just was flowing. And
Gary
there was a real.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I mean, Gary definitely is like a leader in that space, and you talk often about like the positivity, and that's something that he preaches daily, with his listeners and his clients. In your time being an agent, how have you seen the importance of like managing your athletes, not only, their contracts and their endorsement deals, but how the whole social media aspect has changed, especially in the last few years, as the whole picture of being an agent and representing the players?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always been the case that as the agent, I am kind of the general counsel and the personal counsel to every single client. Literally everything of significance that goes on in their lives, I'm asked for my input, my involvement, at a minimum, my advice. And this is true also in how the world has changed, and that social media has taken on so much significance to people's, not only their business life, but their personal life. So this is a real area that I wanted to address with our agency. And there's literally no better way to do it than the partnership that we entered into with Vayner. Unquestionably the best way. And what I love about it is that it's real. This is a real service, a real education that we can provide for each and every one of our clients. It's not like your typical agency model where we've got these really high Uber Hollywood celebrities. We do all these great deals, and somehow that's going to miraculously affect, this college draft pick in Major League Baseball. It's not. It doesn't happen that way. Gary knows how it happens. AJ knows how it happens. They know how to business plan this for each and every client so that they can maximize their opportunities and make sure they're on the path that they really want to be on, what they're interested in, whether it's charity-wise, business-wise, and just really getting them on the right path. And it's something that we can do, and it's real. And that's what I've always been about as an agent.
What players are you bringing over with you? I read recently, you were representing likes of like Roberto Osuna, Tommy Pham, Justin Turner. Are they coming with you under this umbrella?
Yeah, we're going to have some more announcements coming soon in the very near future about some other agents, some other clients that are joining us. And yeah, Justin Turner has been a client of mine for his entire career. He'll definitely be with us. And there's several other former players I represented in the past that are joining us as well. So we'll have a more formal announcement coming soon that's a little bit more comprehensive. But we're taking with us some clients that we represented previously in our careers and some new clients as well. And stay tuned.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be exciting to see the names, come about, especially for the people, that follow and now can see how the expansion is going. With the current baseball season, what have been the challenges, for you as an agent navigating all of these negotiations and the uncertainty and still possibly the uncertainty, of things going on? What challenges have that presented you and how have you handled that?
The uncertainty and challenges presented during this time period are obviously unprecedented, and they're huge. But for me, it's always been a competitive advantage to face adversity, to face challenges like this, because we're about substance. We're about doing the work, being informed, being active with our Players Association when it comes to negotiating labor rights with Major League Baseball and in the other sports. And really being creative and on top of things when it comes to representing amateur players for the draft. And you have cancellation of events. Mm-hmm. You have them not being able to be seen by scouts. How are we going to do this in an alternative way? How are we going to advocate for these clients? How are we going to represent them during these really strange, difficult, uncertain times? So it has been a challenging period, I know, for all of us. It certainly has in our business and sports as well. But it's really provided an opportunity for us to be at the top of our game and really help our clients through the challenging times.
And how's the shortened draft affected what you do? The MLB shortened the amount of rounds, and that turned a lot of kids into free agents, and maybe players that would have declared stayed in school. And you just talked about, some of the players really didn't have opportunity to be seen. How has that changed, at least for this year, from an agent's perspective and, negotiations?
Well, I think it really squeezed out a lot of the high school talent that would have signed professionally. On the one hand, they weren't able to be seen as much. So teams were looking at college players, and it was more attractive because there's a greater body of work, maybe statistics that are a lot more meaningful that they could rely on. So easier to pull the trigger there. Also, with less rounds, what we typically see are some really talented high school players who are planning to go to college, but teams will draft them later and sign them with big, well above slot deals. And we're just not seeing that, obviously, with the draft this short and then a limitation on how much they can pay undrafted players. So the net result is you're going to have a lot of really good high school players who would have signed who are heading to college baseball. So great news for college baseball. We're going to have a lot more talent there. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, there's always a big pull for high school kids to sign professionally if they can. I've always been a big proponent of college baseball. I think it's a great place for young men to go and continue developing as a baseball player, but really grow as a human being and get that education. So I don't look at it as a downside. I know there's going to be some disappointed kids who wish they were beginning their pro career, but I think on balance, it could end up being a real positive for them. So I think it's a good thing. Related to this point is what's going to be really interesting now too is the NCAA, who's been under attack legally for many years, rightfully so,
right.
For not allowing student athletes to market themselves, have basically conceded defeat at this point. Mm-hmm. And they're recognizing the fact that college athletes are going to be able to make money, at least as it relates to their name, image, and likeness. There's the the days of claiming, the purity of amateurism won't allow it. I mean, those should have been gone a long time ago, as soon as they were making billions of dollars
Right.
marketing these sports and marketing the name, image, and likeness of these athletes. So the NCAA has acknowledged this now, and this is going to open up a lot of new opportunities for college athletes, at least initially. And then I will tell you from a legal standpoint, I think also for high school athletes, is I can't imagine that the NCAA will be able to withdraw eligibility for them for engaging in the same conduct that they're going to now allow college players to engage in. So what this is opening up for these amateur athletes who haven't signed professionally is a whole new window of opportunity where they can engage a professional. They can engage a professional, perhaps somebody is lucky enough to get a company like Vayner who's going to help them with all their social, all of their marketing, all of their brand management to help them really capitalize and really set themselves on a trajectory they're trying to go on as they head into a professional career. But maybe being able to begin to learn about how to be a professional now.
One of those opportunities that comes up, and this is a space where, Gary's gotten a lot of attention lately, is sports cards. And from the agent side, how do you work those deals with the memorabilia companies, for the licensing, the autographs, even, for the high school, college players that wind up, in these sets? Where does the agency come in terms of negotiations, for, deals with Topps and Panini and what have you?
So for players that are drafted in that sign and then are no longer eligible for NCAA, the first things you negotiate, obviously, is the playing contract, the signing bonus. In addition, you immediately move into negotiations on the apparel, the footwear deals, maybe a glove deal, bat deal, and the trading cards. And it's a huge part, and it always has been a part of everyone, and it always will be. And it's a real interesting space because you often find new players emerge, and you have some of the long stalwarts that are there and have always been there. But I see this as an area that's moving around quite a bit. I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity for new people to come in, and I know my partner Gary Vee's got a heck of a lot of really good ideas in this space.
Yeah, and he's been very vocal, about it. And with that comes, right, like the financial management, right? So because a lot of people think like, all right, the agents just, help the guys get the deals and it's hands off. But we've heard so many stories throughout the years of athletes maybe not handling the money. What service, do you offer that you feel like VaynerBaseball will offer for their clients? To help them maybe avoid some of those financial traps that, players have fallen into over the years.
Yeah, and I'm happy to report I've represented over 1,000 professional athletes, and there have been some hiccups on the financial side with some of them with their outside advisors, not with us, but it's been really, really rare. And I think part of the reason is my commitment to education, educating my clients, not just on the legal work I'm providing or the agent work, but also on all aspects of their life, including, importantly, let's learn how we handle our own finances. Let's learn how to set a budget. Let's learn what are the safe, appropriate kind of investments to engage in immediately out of the gate when you get some liquidity. So we've done a really good job educating in that standpoint. And incidentally, my other partner here, Tom Hicks and Hicks Equity Partners, are at the forefront of also now as my partner helping us educate our clients at even a higher level. When it comes to evaluating companies and whether you take equity in them, how do you look at a company and see how valuable the equity would be, and really look at business fundamentals. So we are committed. Now, we are not providing the financial services for our clients, and I never have. But what we are doing is we are absolutely going to vet every single person you're interested in talking to in this space. We're going to provide recommendations, and we're going to educate you generally. My goal with each player who's going to earn that sort of life-changing wealth is that we're going to give them something akin to an MBA education straight through their agency and help them understand all of the factors that play into their important financial decisions.
Sure, so they can focus on, what they need to do on the field, right? And make sure that they're able to reap those rewards, long term. This is really exciting. I saw the announcement the other day on, Gary's program, and I was like, all right, let me get in touch with Greg because this is a new development, and, Gary's always talked very positively about, what he's doing in VaynerSports with AJ, and what they're doing on the football side. And, I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see what happens in the coming, months and, as the season progresses and in the off season, of what VaynerBaseball can bring to the table. So, Greg, I appreciate your time this afternoon in speaking, and, I wish you guys all the best.
Well, Nick, thank you very much for your time. I was super happy to have a chance to sit and talk with you here. So best of luck to you going forward, and I hope we talk again soon.
Thanks for listening to the Baseball Happenings podcast. It would mean a lot if you rated and subscribed to us on whatever platform you're using to listen. And remember, until next time, keep swinging for the fences.